Hi. So in this video, we are going to talk about the manifest file for creating a pod in Kubernetes. So essentially, in for creating a pod, you require four essential keys in that file. The first one being API version, the second kind, the third metadata, and fourth a spec. So let's begin with API version. So it's a very elementary field and it's used to specify the version that we are working with. Usually, I don't think that it's very relevant. You just need to be aware of what value you need to put for creating the specific type of resource. So for pod, it's v1. The second is kind. Now this field is important because it specifies what resource you are creating. So for example, if you were creating something else, let's say a replica set or redeployment, you would put in replica set or deployment. And since here we are creating a pod, so we have put in pod. The next one is metadata. So metadata, as the name suggests, is extra information on top of the pod. So here, for example, we are giving the information that the name of that pod should be static web, and labels are just more pieces of information that we're adding. So for example, there would be a label attached to this pod with the key role and the value is my role. The next is spec. Now spec is an essential part because it specifies what should be the specifications of that pod. Since a pod is anyway nothing but a way to run containers, so in the spec we list the containers that we intend to run. So here, as we have mentioned, the containers we want to run is an nginx container, and the name of this particular container that would be running nginx image is web, and then we specify some more things relating to that containers. So for example, we mentioned what port should be using, the protocol. We could have added another container as well. Let's say, for example, we could have named it, let's say, a redis container, and it would have been nothing but a, let's say, the image would be simply redis, and voila, we would have two containers running, the first one being an nginx image and the second an redis image. So that is in brief how you create a manifest file for a pod in Kubernetes. Thanks.